Welcome to According to Michelle, where we learn all about businesses around Atlanta and I actually get my hands dirty a little bit and work in the business. Today we're going to hear from Byron Williams, a Florida native turned Georgia boy who built a successful business from his college dorm room. Welcome to another episode of According to Michelle. I am your host, Michelle Taylor Willis, and this is the show where we learn all about businesses around Atlanta, and I spend a little bit of time working in the business as well. So today we are at Lightouse Promotions with BX Williams, Byron Williams, who's the owner and proprietor. We're going to learn a little bit about him today, and I think I'm going to make a couple of products in the back, and I'm probably going to do a better job than he can or anybody else that works in here. So just heads up about that, guys. So thanks for joining us today, Byron. It's great to see you.
Welcome.
Thank you. So a couple quick questions for you.
Okay.
I know that you are a nerd you're a tech guy, right? Kind of a geeky tech guy, and you do all kinds of things behind the screen on the computer.
Absolutely.
So what made you take the dive into, one, entrepreneurship, and then why choose this specific industry?
Well, I'm going to tell you the short of a long story.
Okay. Really short. We don't have all
really
that.
Short. So I actually started when I was in college as a student at Morehouse. I was actually recruited by a gentleman, Mr. Ed Swain, to go to Morehouse, and he had a little T-shirt business where he would just sell shirts on the college campuses. And I worked with him for like my first year at Morehouse. And the summer after that, he invited me to go into business with him, to basically take it to another level. So I saved $500, which is what he asked me for.
You saved $500. I gotta ask, how'd you save that $500?
I had a summer job. I worked. Okay. I was a dual degree engineering student at the time, so I had an internship through
Tech Geek.
Yes, through Inroads.
Inroads, yeah.
Yes. So I worked that summer, saved the money, and gave it to him. And we started. Our first business was called Collegiate Screen Printing, and that evolved into Collegiate Sportswear. So as a result of selling the shirts and the demand that was required, it caused us to actually buy equipment. And when you have equipment, you got to have somewhere to put it, right? So we got some space, and when you have space, you got rent to pay and all these utilities.
Yes.
So as a college student, trying to do work between classes, it really didn't work. So I ended up, after my second year in school, postponing my education and going into business full time. And because I gave up some things like a scholarship at school, I was really focused and determined that, hey, this business had to work.
Yeah.
So we both were. He stayed in school. I postponed my education temporarily. Long story short, we started Collegiate Screen Printing, developed it into a company called Collegiate Sportswear, where we were doing retail. So we had retail stores in several major cities, Atlanta and the AU Center. We had a store in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, near Southern University, and a store in Tallahassee near Florida A&M. So our model was basically to sell collegiate apparel to black colleges, as well as the fraternity and sorority wear.
So you had like more AKA stuff than anything, right?
AKA, Delta, Zeta.
Yeah, but AKA, mostly AKA. And then,
all of them. But the AKs were always great sellers.
Of course they were.
Of course. So did that for 11 years full time, made a lot of money. As a young person in my early 20s, our best year we did like $2.5 million in business.
What?
Yes.
In your early 20s?
Yes. And you can, just imagine, and people don't realize the potential of apparel. But when you have a model that you can replicate in multiple places, it was a great time. So back then you had companies like FUBU who were popular.
Yeah.
Black by Popular Demand was popular. All the Black Bart and all the television shows like The Cosby Show, A Different World, which promoted black college life. So it fit right in with what we were already doing.
Right.
In fact, we had product placement on shows like The Cosby Show.
I know. I was going to ask you about that. Tell us a little bit about that. Your product was actually on the show.
So basically what they would do, they would contact us and say, hey, we're looking for something for XYZ date. We're looking for a Morehouse shirt or Spelman or whatever it was. And it was promotional. So we would make up some stuff, or if it was something we already had, and just, send it to them. And then, a few weeks later, we'd see it on television.
Wow.
And they would give us credit at the end of the show.
Now, did you get paid for that as well, or that was
it was promotional, so we didn't get a check for it.
Right.
So,
but Bill Cosby wore your stuff.
It was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Right.
So
that's
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah, so let's fast forward a little bit. So after 11 years of working full time in the business, I actually decided to take a slightly different direction, and I went ahead and finished my degree in school.
Got it.
I actually did that before the 11th year, but finished my degree. My family situation caused me to make some changes. I had a first child, and that really changed my focus.
Yeah, kids kind of like to eat, don't they?
They like to eat, and you got to educate them, you got to clothe them,
right.
And that costs money.
It does.
But my issue really was, I was determined, and I knew that once that first child came, if I didn't complete my college education, then it was going to be tougher as more kids came.
Right.
Because the plan was to have like 5 kids, and that changed. We only had two beautiful kids.
Yeah.
But realized, hey, it costs a lot to really do it right and to raise kids. Long story short, my wife and I started a new company in 2004, which is Lightouse Promotions, which is the company you sit in today.
Right.
This isn't our original location. So we were originally located down on 314 right here in Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. And 2008, 2009 came with the economy downturn. So we had to make some decisions again. And mm-hmm. we moved the business temporarily to our home. And then fast forward to 2015, we moved to the current location here, right here in Fayetteville. So, we are a full-service imprinting, apparel, embroidery company, as well as promotional products.
Got you.
We do quite a bit of things.
So I'm going to ask you this because, we have a lot of entrepreneurs and self-employed people who are watching this show, mm-hmm. and then a lot of young people mm-hmm. who are delving right into entrepreneurship, whether right out of college or, while they're in college. Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give someone who's young, let's say, late teens, early 20s, that wants to end up owning their own business? What advice would you give them, kind of keys or tricks of the trade or keys to success?
One thing,
you've had a long, successful history.
I did. Don't be afraid to take a risk. That's probably number one. Mm-hmm. You have more flexibility when you're young and single in terms of, you don't have
right.
a family, you don't have hopefully not a lot of obligations and things mm-hmm. like that. But don't be afraid to take a risk. Because if you don't risk anything, there's a saying, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Right.
It's true in so many areas, but it's true in business as well. Mm-hmm. So, take a risk, make it a calculated risk, mm-hmm. but don't, be so concerned with overanalyzing things. Sometimes you just got to get in and just do it.
Right.
And that's what we did, because when we first started, I didn't know how to screen print. I didn't know anything about how to embroider a shirt or cap, but we learned. Mm-hmm. We had mentors along the way, and get a mentor. That's important too. Somebody who's already in the industry that you want to go into.
Right.
Get a mentor in that industry and help. Ask them to teach you.
Yeah.
When we get seasoned in an industry, most people want to pass on information to up and coming people.
Right.
I have several young people that I help as well. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to take a risk and get a mentor. Those are 2 things that I would say to a young person. Right,
which is one of the things I love. Something I tell entrepreneurs all the time is to make sure you keep a circle around you that's smarter than you, right?
Absolutely.
That, everybody has their own lane and they play at very high levels at their lane. But if everybody's doing the same thing, how can you really advance, right, and get better? So I think that's great advice.
Absolutely.
All right, so last question here for you. What should people be looking for? Or better yet, what are big mistakes that people make when they hire people to do embroidery or screen printing or anything like that? Because I see sometimes people wearing shirts and the stuff comes off of it, or they have the jerseys where the numbers are coming off.
Yeah. So I would say if it's your first time doing business with a company, do a little research on it. Mm-hmm. Go online. Nowadays you can read reviews on companies,
which is good and bad.
Look at their reviews.
Yeah.
That's very important. See if they have any. If it's a large order, if there's a lot of money involved, they should be able to give you some referenceable customers. Mm-hmm. So ask them for references, some people that they can call and ask about the quality of your work, and then also visit the company. Go and ask them to show you examples of things that they've done. So they should be able to show you some examples, and those are some things that you can definitely look at. To make sure. Yeah.
Great. And I said last question, but I lied.
That's okay.
Who's the best person that will walk in that door for you? What does an ideal customer look like?
Well, I would say it's not necessarily a person, but the ideal customer would be a small to medium-sized business who's looking to improve their brand, and they're looking for apparel or promotional items. We make companies look good. I mean, that's what we do.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of doing business with us is that we won't just provide you with product, but we are. We're advocates, or we're advisors for you. So if there's something that can be adjusted to make it look a little bit better, we're going to tell you that.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? We just won't do it and say, hey, that's what you gave me, so hey, that's what you're going to get. No, we'll tell you, hey, this needs to be, thickened a little bit, or what? Have you thought about changing this color a little bit, or, making this small modification? Because sometimes it's the small things that make a really big
Absolutely.
difference. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we got some great information here. I'm going to take everything you told me and not listen, because I'm already an expert at doing this. I'm pretty sure I can knock this out in the park. Guys, we're going to go in the back, and we're going to make a couple of products, see how I do. And if I do a great job, Byron here is going to sell me his business. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to make it a $30 million company in the matter of a week or so, and we'll just roll from there, right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, let's do it.
So this is the big boy right here. This is a 6-head Tajima industrial sewing machine, or industrial embroidery machine. It's not a sewing machine.
Okay.
So basically, this allows us to do 6 different products, or 6 products at one time.
Okay.
So one design. So right now, I have these heads off, but what we're in the process of doing is this little brain design.
Yeah.
And over here is where the control panel is, and we use a little USB, stick it in there. It's kind of loud.
Okay.
So cover your ears for a second.
Can't do that.
Go to resize. Oh, look, the telephone's ringing.
Oh, should I grab that?
Sure. We got it.
Thank you for calling Lightouse Promotions. This is Michelle, where you get the best embroidery, the best screen printing, the best graphics anywhere in Georgia. Can I help you? I did this. I told you. I'm a quick study, man. I can do anything. I can run the shop, right? All right.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make your monogram on your shirt.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this on. You want to make sure that you open this up so that once it goes on the machine. Let me check one thing before we get started. Make sure my bobbin is good, which it is. Let's do that. Okay, go ahead and place it on.
Around this? Okay.
And you got to make sure that these go into the bottom of both sides. Okay. Just push.
Okay. How far back? Oh, there you go.
So whenever we embroider something, we have to be able to hoop it. Hoop it ensures that we get the registration. Because remember, the machine is just going to drop it until you see TRC. Press D.
Press D until I see.
TRC is what you look for.
D until I see TRC. That's a mouthful, guys. I hope I don't mess this up. I can't have my shirt looking crazy. Okay, D until I see TRC.
Right there.
Look at that on the first try. Can you imagine?
Now, turn.
Just pull it.
Lift a little bit and then pull straight towards you. All right. There you go. You're doing good. You're going to hold it by this.
Hold it by this. Let's see my work. I feel like I'm a genius at this. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. But I would say yes. Shirt produced by none other than Byron at Lightouse Promotions. Byron, thank you so much. I had a ball here today. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You did.
But Byron, why don't you tell us where people can find you?
Absolutely. They can find us online at www.lighthouse-promo.com. Our telephone number is 770-461-9345. Or you can find us if you're in the Atlanta area, if you want to come and visit us. We're at 349 Glen Street North, and that's Fayetteville, 30214. And let me give you the number one more time just in case you missed it. 770-461-9345.
So, according to Michelle, guys, if you want to join in and be one of our featured or spotlighted businesses, the info is below. Just fill that out, send that into us, and we'll make sure you are the next person on According to Michelle. See you next time.